Good evening and salutations, my Days of Lives fans. You know, this episode, it felt, hmm, in some ways, it felt kind of like a special. I don't know, maybe because of the episode that happened yesterday, you would feel that they would kind of like lean more into that than um this particular episode. But whatever, somebody maybe it just seemed like it just kind of shifted fast. Maybe because they actually have Lonnie back. Whatever it was, it felt kind of off. But at the same time, it was a good episode. You got Steve and you got Josh sitting there looking at this at the wall and being like, things aren't adding up. You know, this dude Abe is missing for weeks. No one's found him except for one person, and when they do, he just happens to go off into the docks, like off the docks. Like really, like even they're both separately. They're starting to sit there looking at the pieces and being like, it's not adding up. And when Lonnie gets back, Lonnie is also looking at it the same way, like, yo, they declared his body way too fast. Dead way too fast. Now, of course, she was with Paulina, and she was like, I gotta sit there and look at the evidence. And Paulina's all like, oh, no matter if you go back there or not, you're not gonna find anything new. And I'm like, Paulina, wouldn't you want her to find something new? I get it, that's your daughter, you miss her and everything like that. But I'm like, if there's a slim chance that she could sit there and find something that they missed or whatever, foul play or something, I would think that she would want to know that. Instead of just to say, no, you can't, it's like what, like, why would you even say that for? So that wasn't really adding up. And of course, you got Kayla that's, you know, um, I guess being kind of sus of Steve's theory as far as, the possibility that Abe could be alive. But I'm sitting there thinking, like, wasn't at one point Steve was declared dead and he came back? Now, I'm not saying you should jump at this right away, but you should be a little more open minded to the possibility that maybe things aren't just not adding up. Hell, even same thing with Marlena. I mean, times that John probably thought that John was dead and he wasn't. Um, You got Chanel in the beginning. That's when they're trying to cheer her up. They're trying to cheer her, Paulina up with some sweets and talking about, oh, you need to get out and, get dressed and get in the shower and stuff like that. I'm like, Chanel, she literally just, quote unquote, lost her husband. You really think that she's in the mood to sit there and get into the shower and get dressed and stuff like that? Like, I get that you're trying to help, but, like, that's, like, and then you have the whole fake Paulina and Abe scene, where Whitney was sitting there looking at the newspaper, and Abe was like, I want to sit there and see the newspaper. So, of course, Whitney started putting on the waterworks. Oh, it's so hard for me, and you just don't understand. And those other crap or whatever. And he was like, oh, I get it, I'm sorry. Just sit there and try to drop it. But my whole thing is like, bro, when was the last time you looked at a newspaper? When's the last time you actually got some fresh air? Come on, bro. You literally tried to get out once and you just said, oh, screw it. I guess I'll just sit there and be a hermit for the foreseeable future or whatever. I mean, I get that he wasn't feeling up to it one day, but I'm like, bro, listen. Isn't there being cooped up in those four walls don't work for everyone. Um, Now, here's something that's just not really adding up for me, right? Now, eventually, like I said, you got Steve and Paulina. I mean, Steve and John, and you got Kayla and Marlena in the same room. Theo was there for a little bit. He didn't really do too much of anything, but even they're sitting there looking at it. They're like, "Yo, things aren't adding up. We need to sit there and talk to that witness. We need to sit there and kind of get back on this case because things aren't adding up." But towards the end, apparently, Body and Soul is new, right? It's not old or whatever. I'm assuming maybe I don't know. I don't know. It could be old. My point is, right? So for these characters, they're like, they have one where she was trying to compare, Whitney was trying to compare like Susan Lucci and somebody to this new character on this show. Soap opera within a soap opera. I find it very Jerry Seinfeld. You watch Jerry Seinfeld, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, but like, okay, so you're using the actual characters from the show to play this body and soul, right? But then one of the characters is the actual actor. Well, not the actor. That's Jeffrey. The person that Lonnie was looking at. Kind of funny when she looked at the picture and it was like a professional headshot. So apparently Jeffrey was on the show Body and Soul, and I'm just like, I was like, so Jeffrey stands out. Jeffrey stands out. You know what I'm saying here? Like, I get that you have to have a certain level of disbelief, but if you're gonna have like, it's like, okay, so like Kate, Marlena, and Kayla, they didn't stand out. No. But Jeffrey, the guy who you said is Theo. Oh no, that guy stands out. Let's just let's just use a large amount of disbelief to sit there and kind of just run through that. It also just means that Whitney's getting sloppy. Okay, she's sitting there having all these tapes and stuff like that, and she didn't realize the first tape was where she had to sit and explain that at one point he was the mayor. Now she has to sit and explain, oh, my son, who's in South Africa, oh, he's an actor now. I'm pretty sure at this point she'll find a way to sit and explain that little level of BS too, because to be honest, that one ain't really that hard. So now, not seeing her papa, because even yeah, when Abe was like, "Yo, that's mad cringe," it was like that's cringe. Now Chanel can't sit there and see him, and Theo is back in South Africa, Johannesburg. Who knew, right? Some things just not like I feel like at this point they need to find they're starting to I think they're starting to realize that this thing is dragging, right? Which is why they went to. I feel like that's another reason why they went to this episode today instead of bouncing off yesterday's episode of Megan being put on ice or dead or who the hell knows at this point, right? Now Lonnie's out, but she's not out. She's on furlough. Just until the trial is over. I mean, just into Abe's funeral is over. Which, by the way, Abe was like, Paulina was like, we don't even have a body. We're gonna sit there and bury him. We don't even actually have a damn body. Like, what's going on? I mean, besides the fact that sort of previews, I knew the moment that she got there, she was kind of fired up. She used to be in the detective, look for clues and stuff like that. She wasn't there. She wasn't with the investigation. We always sit there and say a fresh pair of eyes could sit there and really help a case. I feel like that's about it. I can't really think of anything else that wound up happening. So if uh, at this point, I was gonna sit there and say, but well, if I did miss anything, come to the live stream tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll sit there and go over all of them. Well, from today and then the stuff tomorrow is pretty much, there was nothing else that was on. It was an old episode of Y&R that I'm like kind of fluctuating between should I watch it or not. I don't know. But I don't know. I mean, like most likely, I'm probably not gonna watch. I'm not gonna sit there and watch it. But yeah, I will see you in the next video. My whole outro is so much different now that I'm not doing, because I'm not doing the live stream tonight. But yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Laters.